I've gardened all my life. And we actually moved to Wyoming, Laramie, Wyoming, near Laramie, because I had these really severe allergies. I needed to find some place that had clean air. And I'd kind of done it to myself too. I used to use every pesticide I could find. I remember at a Crazy Day sale, I bought some snail bait that had been like off the shelves for years, and it worked great on my strawberries. But all that stuff builds up in some people's bodies, and I built an intolerance to chemicals. So we moved out here. Stephen was going to go to law school, and changed his mind. But we ended up out here, and Stephen got a job as a ranch hand down at the end of the road when this Wild Horse Acres used to be a regular ranch. And that was fun. We learned to live off the land and how to do without a lot of things. And so when we found this place and bought it, we were kind of prepared to live out in the country, because it's hard. We've seen so many people buy these acreages up here, and they build their house and then they move the next year because of the wind and all that. So, yeah, we're just crazy enough to enjoy it, all that. Kind of interesting, because when we moved out here, it was really hard to grow things. We lived in Centennial for a year, and I cultivated a little garden by using coffee grounds from Murph's and whatever I could to make soil. And we moved that down to the ranch house, and then from the ranch house we moved probably 3 truckloads of soil that I'd made, and we make it with worms and composting and all that. So my health has really improved, and just been gardening and raising critters ever since we moved out here. And when we moved to Wyoming, we were vegetarians, but everybody in Centennial would come to our door, it seemed like, and they'd bring us elk meat and antelope meat and bear meat and moose meat, and we didn't want to turn them down, and so we went ahead and ate it. But we decided if we're going to eat meat, we are going to raise our own. So that's what we started doing when we moved out in the ranch. I started raising our food probably ever since we lived out in the country. I pretty much raised all the vegetables that we eat during the summertime. And then I freeze enough that we don't have to buy greens during the wintertime. So we'll still find ourselves buying broccoli and cauliflower or something like that, just a little bit different at the store. We enjoy being able to eat our own food just because we know what's in it and what it's grown in, and it hasn't had any pesticides or anything like that. So in retrospect, when I got sick, it was 30 years ago, it was probably doing myself a favor, because I eat so much better. Our lifestyle is just, it's a choice we've made. One of my goals is I would love to have interns or somebody come out, students, that I could teach them how I've done this. It's because it's been a lot of work, and a lot of people say, oh, you just can't grow things. And my neighbor up the road, they've got better soil, so they can just plow out a place, and she has a garden, but it's not sheltered at all, and she can just grow minimal crops, potatoes, carrots, that sort of thing. And it was really made me feel good this year. She looked at my garden, she said, you should be teaching people and showing people how to do this.
Very well. It's interesting. One thing we do talk with almost everybody is about the myth of that you're not able to grow anything here in Laramie or in Albany County, and we just prove it wrong all the time, but it really is in people's minds.
So we did learn a lot from the locals, but just guesswork, try one thing one year, and like tomatoes is something I just could never really completely give up on. And this year I finally was rewarded. I found a way to grow them that's just been, we've had lots of tomatoes. I don't know if you noticed, but our mudroom back there is full of all of our tomato pots and herb pots and things like that. So that was really gratifying, because I was one of those that say, you just can't grow tomatoes in Wyoming. And I'm sure if I hadn't done all my gardening and all my critters, I'd probably still be sick. I'd probably be locked into a little house, being afraid to go out and be exposed to chemicals. And I'm pleased that I'm where I'm at, you know, but it's just, health is, it's a spiritual, psychological, physiological, all three of those things tied together. So I firmly believe that. So getting out there and digging the soil is very therapeutic. You know, wrangling chickens and chasing goats, all those things.